he said, who are some of your favorite producers right now? And one of the names I threw out was Pete Stewart. I said, I love the records that this guy Pete Stewart's making. It was a lot of like Christian rock stuff and things that I was a fan of in high school. And he's like, oh, I'm like best buddies with Pete. Like, here's his phone number. Why don't you call him tomorrow? And maybe he could use some help. And I was like, oh, okay, sure.
That's amazing.
So I remember the next day at school, because I was still, I guess, at SAE at the time, going in this room and just like calling this, like one of my heroes randomly, going, hey, Randy gave me your number. He said you might need some help. Is there anything I can do to help you out? And he's like, well, actually, I'm looking to hire or bring on someone just part-time, like X number of hours a week. And this is what I'll pay. It's not much, but he said, I got a couple major label records coming up and, you can kind of be my engineer or assistant or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool.
Wow,
and so,
that's sick.
Yeah. So once again, Starbucks came through for me, and
when you're like 19 or 20 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a total boon.
Yeah,
that's a total boon.
And so it was all moving so quick. It was like, I've only been here for a year. I'm already done with school, and now I've like done these 2 really cool internships, working on some cool projects, and now I'm getting to work with like one of my idols on a couple of like major label records now, and so it just it was a really exciting time looking back on it. Everything was, like I said, happening so quick that I was loving life for sure.
I would say like it's so cool to hear the story, and this is something that I believe like to be true. Is like it's like you were talking about, like it was so clear how fiery and passionate you were about this, about doing the sound and doing the audio, and like, I don't know, like I've seen like videos of people in actual like engineering school, and half of them seem like they're there because they need to be in school.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like the same way, like, like my parents made me go to college, right? Like it's like, my wife and I were just talking about this. Like we both went to college because that's what you do. You go to college. Yeah. And like neither of us studied anything that we're working on today.
Yeah.
Right. Like I studied psychology. My wife studied biology. Like, but we just had to do a degree. So we did a degree, but like, and like, imagine people being in audio school because they need to do a degree, and they, like those are not the people that are gonna do well in this industry. Because I think the number one thing for success. Oh, there's so many number one things, but like persistence. Like you just have to keep at it, and to keep at it, you need that passion. And like it's so great that your passion was able to kind of shine through, and you were able to just completely detour it. It wasn't necessary. You just were there. You showed up and.
Yeah,
did what you had to do.
I'm really appreciative of my parents too. Like just being like, okay, we trust, what these industry professionals are saying. If they don't think that you need a college degree, then okay, that's fine. We're good with that. And so yeah, I'm really, I know some people, interns that I've had in the past, they've kind of like had to do the university thing just because it was like that's what the folks wanted them to do, and they still, are professionals in the industry. It's just they, had to do 4 or 5 years, and I don't know. It's just once again, in this industry, I think it's more about what you know.
It's funny that like it's like college is so defaulted. I feel like it should be like, okay, I'm going to college because I want to do this, and this is the degree I need to do that. It shouldn't be like I'm going to college because I guess I got to go to college.
Right.
I mean. I don't regret going to college. I definitely learned how to be a better like learner, how to learn better.
Sure.
And there were some nice social elements to it, but it wasn't. I'm not using any of that. Maybe I don't know. I took a public speaking course. I have a podcast, so who knows?
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. There's some things I definitely like. Was like, man, I kind of missed out on that, and just because I jump started some things, but. At the same time,
but you never know.
Yeah, it was cool to be doing being done with school and working on big projects, things that were on the radio or things that were on television, and only being 20, 21 years old, and some of those things, like one thing leading to like winning a Dove Award and all that at 23, all those were like really exciting things that were happening so quick, and it just meant that then becoming a freelance guy, that was like at 23 or something. So me being solo, it's been a long long time of doing things just kind of solo. So, but no, wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah,
for sure.
You like the freelance life.
I do. Well, it's got its pros and its cons for sure. I like the flexibility and all that, but if the money's not coming in, it's all on you. Or there's definitely pros and cons to freelance for sure. But for the most part, I like it. My mom was as well, and so I kind of saw with her, what it was like. But I don't know. It's not for everyone. I think it takes a certain kind of person. You have to kind of I feel like you have to be a little bit hard on yourself you can't be just like a slouch and be freelance. I don't know. I feel like you just don't really.
Maybe coming from the church or the synagogue, right? It's like is helpful in being able to be hard on yourself and keep routines and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from for me, but yeah, having being a bit disciplined, I think, is important when you're freelance.
Yeah, you need discipline. Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, if you're anything like me, then you're an audio engineer, not a web designer. That's why you should be using EasyFunnels to build your studio's website. Here's why EasyFunnels is better for you than Wix or Squarespace. Number 1, their audio player is lossless, which means your portfolio will be streamed in high-quality WAV format. Number 2, their website templates are built 100% for the audio industry. Number 3, their built-in scheduling tool allows your clients to book things like calls, meetings, studio time, or studio tours, replacing tools like Calendly. Number 4, their built-in e-commerce capabilities let you sell services by the hour, by the song, or with flat rate pricing. You can even sell digital products with auto delivery. Number 5, they have built-in email marketing, which completely replaces the need for tools like MailChimp. This means you can finally start building your email list. And now, special for you Secret Sonics listeners, you can get 50% off your first 3 months of EasyFunnels by going to easyfunnels.io/secretsonics. Go check it out. There's a link in the show notes below. All right, back to the episode. So bring us up to today. Like, what are you doing these days? Like, what you're working out of a home studio? What does it look like?
Yeah. I've been in Nashville here now this is my 22nd year, which is hard to believe. Wow. And it's changed a lot, especially the past 5 or 10 years. The city is so different than when I moved here back in 2000. But,
right. I've been seeing stuff about that.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, at 23 is kind of when I started doing my own thing. It was at that time, jack of all trades, saying yes to everything because, hey, you got rent to pay and, I'm out here just doing my thing. I'm hungry. I don't really care like what I take on. So it's production. It's maybe playing guitar on somebody's record or, just an engineer role of like doing a band tracking thing or mixing something or mastering something when I shouldn't even be mastering it. Saying yes to anything just to kind of bring all these income streams together to pay the bills. And so that's what the early days were like. Just out there like hustling, trying to bring in, production projects and mixing projects and make a name for myself and building website and, just learning. That was like the early days of me figuring out what marketing really looks like for me. And, so that was then. And slowly it's kind of been, funneling into just this specialist of like producing half the time and mixing half the time. And that's what I've been doing for quite some time now. Really, diverse when it comes to genres, pop, some rock stuff, especially early on, singer-songwriters. Usually those are the genres I work a lot in, but so it'd be like 50% of the time producing, 50% of the time mixing, something like that every year. And, the past few years, I've fallen more and more in love with the mixing side of things. I feel like that's where my heart's at right now. I feel like I'm a little bit better as a mixer than I'm a producer. And I don't know, just with my schedule now, and there's a lot of reasons, but I don't know, mixing is what I'm most passionate about. And I still like at times, I love production as well. And I still am taking on those projects, but this year is kind of my year to where I'm transitioning into just mixing full time, which I know is kind of funny considering I've been here for 22 years and now I'm like getting even more specialized. It's something maybe I should have done earlier on, but I really I've loved production as well. So they both kind of do something for me in a different kind of way. Just where I'm at now, like I said, and wanting to just have the flexibility. Mixing gives you a lot more flexibility. I like being able to get through a song in a day or two and just being able to work here, or if at some point, I want to get out of Nashville, I could still do that and it's not going to change much. I like just not getting burnt out on something, for listening to the same song for 4 months, or whatever that, can happen when it comes to production. So
yeah, it's way easier to finish a mix than it is to finish a production. That is for sure.
Yeah, because with production, you're at the mercy of you got the client schedule. You've got maybe if there's a bunch of session musicians involved, you're dealing with their schedules and studios, and
maybe the artist isn't even inspired on that day to sing.
You're cutting vocals and then you're recutting them again because there was something about that day that they were in their head. So it's mixing is nice because it's like, okay, I've got the files, I'm working on my time. When it's done, and then I can deliver it, right back to the client. So
I feel like I'm in a similar stage to you, or maybe not quite, but like I've realized that I need a bit of both. I can't do only one, because when I have like little seasons where I mostly mix, or I'll have like a season where I'm mostly producing.
Yeah.
And then I find like if I'm mostly mixing, at a certain point, like it sort of turns into a job. And when I'm mostly producing, it's like too much. It's like too much like relationship outside of like my marriage, and like it's just a lot of emotional energy. You know what I mean? Like it's to produce a song, and so for me, I'm trying to work on finding that right balance of like how much production do I want to do versus how much mixing, and I think it's like maybe going to shift towards like maybe the 70-30 or the 80-20 or something, mixing to producing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think I could ever drop producing altogether, because then I think, for me personally, right? Like then I would lose some of that kind of like creative drive,
Yeah.
Not that mixing isn't creative, but like there's something that is a bit more creative with if you're doing like a full production,
Yeah, I think for me, like the older I get, the more I know, the better I know myself and like what I'm like best suited for. And when it comes to production, I think like musicality is important. Lots of times, I mean, there are people maybe like Rick Rubin style, which is a little more on the other side. But
I mean, I just listened to such an interesting interview with him.
Yeah, oh, he's the man. I love his work. But it's like
amazing.
The musicality. I'm a better listener than I am a musician, and I'm like really detailed. And sometimes I feel like detail kind of gets in the way of the production side of things. I don't know. I just feel like, the more I get to know myself, the more I'm like, okay, mixing is a better fit for me. And it seems like that's what my clients are wanting more than they used to.
The market is telling you.
The market is telling me I need to be mixing, more and more and more. So it's a great place to be. Not only am I just like really passionate about getting better and better every single day as a mixer, but also that work is coming in, and it's allowing me to focus on that. So I'm still not turning down production work. I'm trying to make it like this slower transition. It's going to be weird because there's a lot of production clients I've worked with for 10 or 15 years now. Yeah, that's what when I said it's
those are the people that have kept you in. Those are the people that have kept you in business.
Yeah,
right?
It is for sure.
And relationships, right? Like
it is.
It's a relationship built business. Like these are friends, right?
Yeah, but and then a lot of production clients that I've had, they're all just doing it themselves, the production side of things now. That's a trend that I'm definitely seeing right now.
Are you seeing that with like artists that are like in the game long enough to kind of understand what goes into it, or is it also with like beginners?
Both. Yeah, I mean both. I think people are more confident than ever before when it comes to producing their own projects, and especially if it's more on the pop side of things where they can just program it all. They're not having to worry about getting too many great sounds other than a good vocal sound, and they're doing the best they can, and then I get it and do what I can with it. But so that's what I'm seeing a lot of, is just people have the computer now and can get the the cheap whatever, the Scarlett or the some universal audio interface.
Right. The interfaces I throw under the bus
I know,
way too often, because they serve a purpose.
Yeah,
they serve a purpose. I talk about the Focusrite sound on several podcasts.
Yep.
But there's definitely stuff you need to fix in that. But yeah, it serves that purpose.
Yep,
yeah, it's interesting. I kind of I've had interesting conversations with different people about this, and like for a long time, I really thought that the industry was moving into like artists producing for themselves, and that's where like we would come in to help mix or help even like coach the end of the production to make sure everything's in its right place.
Right.
And then I talked to I think you're connected with Daniel Grimmett, and he was telling me. He's like, no, but like when people take themselves super seriously, then they end up going to a producer anyway. So like, like it's like, it's good to like, it's good to self-produce for demos and to get your ideas out and to flesh out your songs and all that stuff. But sometimes I think some artists can do it, but not all artists can. Not all artists can do it. Yeah. But I definitely, nonetheless, I always encourage like artists to do their own thing because it will only help them, right? It'll only help us also down the line. Like it's like learn how to do this, get better at making